Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Joe here from Spain Speaks with an update video today. Bit of an update video, feedback video from some of the comments on recent videos. We'll go over some of those comments and have a bit of a chat about what's happening in Spain at the moment. As we know, things are starting to get difficult in the city of Madrid again. Some parts of the city have gone into a lockdown. Some of the surrounding towns have also gone into a lockdown situation. So everything is a bit confusing at the moment, especially for the people living in those areas. Reading the press this morning, some of the interviews with people in those areas, everybody seems a little bit confused. People not really sure what is going on. And of course, the police have come out and said that they're not going to be handing out fines immediately. They're going to be giving people a couple of days to get used to the new situation, but fines will be handed out on Wednesday. So good to see that people have been given a couple of days to get used to the new situation. Now, as I said, it all seems a bit confusing. I'm confused, and I was hoping that the situation wouldn't be as confusing as it was last time around. Remember that during the main lockdown here in Spain in the months of March, April, May, everything was very, very confusing. In my opinion, I had trouble to understand what was going on, as did many people in the country. And of course, when we went through that phase system at the end of the lockdown, the phase 0, the phase 1, the phase 2, the phase 3, again, it was quite confusing to know what you could do, what you couldn't do at certain times of the day. But it was easier back then in the sense that the whole country was locked down and whole areas were locked down. For example, you couldn't leave this local municipality. But what's happening with this lockdown currently in Madrid is that it's being done in health areas, and the health areas are a little bit confusing. For example, I'm hearing stories about people that live on one side of a street, and on the other side of the street they don't have restrictions. And that of course adds to the confusion. And how are you supposed to police that? How can you stop people crossing the street? Well, that is what they're trying to do in the city of Madrid at the moment, and in some of those cities, as I said, around Madrid, like Parla and other places in the Madrid community that are also in a lockdown situation. So quite confusing, but confusion seems to be par for the course nowadays. Now, it's a quiet day today in my neck of the woods. The dog behind me has decided not to bark, which is very polite of it. It might have had a rough night, so it's probably sleeping now. Either that or they have finally decided to take it for a walk, which is something that they don't often do, to be honest. And I think that one of the reasons why it gets so stirred up is because of all of the stray cats in the area. The cats probably taunt it because there's quite a few birds up in these trees behind me, and the cats of course come in looking for prey, and it drives the local dogs crazy, of course. And that could be one of the reasons why the dog barks as often as it does. And somebody in the comments section asked me if I'm using a green screen behind me. Green screen, if you don't know, is one of those things that you put up behind somebody who's recording a video. Then you can add a different image to the one that is behind you. The answer is no, this is not a green screen. This is my green garden. Although in the last video that I did record in the garden, you might have noticed that there was a bit of separation between me and the background. But it was just the camera effect and not a green screen. Now, another comment that caught my attention was that Spain should be a more business-friendly country. Somebody said that it's difficult to do business in Spain. Spain is not really pro-business. And unfortunately, it is true. Spain is not an easy country to do business in. You could say that Spain is not a business-friendly country. I don't know what the reason for it is. I don't think it has anything to do with the government that we have in place at the moment, because we have had different governments in recent times, but they also don't make it easy for people to do business. People constantly complain how difficult it is to do business here from a bureaucratic point of view, from a cost point of view, from a tax point of view, the money that you have to pay every month to be self-employed. So it is not easy for most to do business in this country. There are exceptions, of course, don't get me wrong. Some people do have very successful businesses in this country, of course. One of the most successful businessmen in the world, Amancio Ortega, of course, set up his business in this country. So it can be done. You can have a successful business in this country, but a lot of people try and fail when it comes to starting a business. And to be honest, I've never really been able to put my finger on why it is so difficult to do business in this country. I remember during the last economic crisis in 2008, the government started to put up ads all over the place encouraging people to open their own business, to start an online business, to be an entrepreneur. But of course, we saw that that wasn't overly successful. And now again, unfortunately, a lot of businesses are in trouble, going to disappear or have disappeared already. And as I said, it's not a new problem. It goes back decades. Nothing ever seems to change. There's an index which is called the ease of doing business, and Spain is quite a long way down the list when you compare it to some other countries in the world. I think New Zealand is the easiest country in the world to start a business. And of course, other countries like Singapore, for example, also a lot easier to start a business than this country here. And with the current government, I don't know if things are going to improve, whether they're going to encourage people to open a small business, whether they're going to encourage people to become entrepreneurs. But to be honest, I'm not overly optimistic. But again, I'd love to get some feedback on this. So if you are in Spain and you do have a successful business, tell us about it. Tell us some of the secrets to your success. I'd love to know them. Now, another comment that caught my attention, or a question that caught my attention, was somebody asked if it is safe to visit Madrid at the moment. And the answer is yes. The whole city is not shut down. There are still some places that you can go and visit, stay in a hotel, go to bars, go to restaurants. So the city is open at the moment. If you are in Spain and you want to come to Madrid on a holiday, it probably is a good time to do it, because you never know if the whole city is going to be locked down in the next couple of weeks. The selective lockdowns that they have in place at the moment are going to last for 2 weeks, and after that they're going to see whether the situation improves or gets worse. So that will be when we know whether the whole city goes into some type of lockdown or not. But at the moment, it could be a good time to visit the city if that's what you are planning to do. You might be able to get a good deal at a hotel. You might be able to get good deals at restaurants, because of course there's lots of places in the center of Madrid that are suffering at the moment. In fact, another YouTube channel did a video recently where they asked the question whether tourism has ruined Spain. James Blick's Spain Revealed is the name of that channel, so check that video out for yourself. He went into the center of Madrid and you can see that it's a virtual ghost town at the moment. So I'm sure that there's lots of businesses there that are looking for your business at the moment. And to be honest, there's probably more people leaving the city than coming to the city at the moment. There's been some reports on TV recently about people that have left the city in order to avoid the confinement, going to places on the Levante coast. I think there was one particular case of a lady who left Madrid and she was planning to go to Denia. And of course, the TV reporters stopped her on the street with her suitcases and asked her where she was going. And of course, people weren't happy to see that people are fleeing the city, trying to avoid the confinement and leaving those areas and going to places where the health situation is not as bad as it is in Madrid. I suppose a lot of people think that if your neighborhood does go into confinement, the best thing for you to do is stay there, not go to another place. But hey, that's what a few people seem to be doing. And there's also been a bit of feedback in the comment section in recent times about dual citizenship. I mentioned the other day that I, for example, can't have dual citizenship with Spain. Australia is not recognized by Spain, so it is not easy for me to have 2 passports if I decided to get Spanish citizenship, which I'm not planning on doing, but I know that there are a few people out there that do plan to get Spanish citizenship as soon as they can, because it would make their life easier, they think, to live in this country. I don't necessarily agree with that. I've been living here as a resident for the last 22 years, haven't really had a problem. I hold on, of course, to my Australian citizenship, and I don't know whether I would be willing to give that up. But Spain does recognize dual nationality with some countries. I had some people from South American countries telling me that they don't have a problem. Somebody from Venezuela, people from the Dominican Republic, they don't have a problem having both passports. So it just depends on which country you come from and whether Spain recognizes it. And that's also the same when it comes to residency and how long you have to be living here before you can apply for Spanish citizenship. In my case, it's 10 years of permanent residency, but if you come from some South American countries and from the Philippines, I think it's only 2 years of permanent residency in this country before you can apply for Spanish citizenship. So it depends on where you come from. It's a lot easier for people that come from South American countries, obviously because of the history aspect and of course the ties that Spain had in the past with those particular countries. So it depends on where you're from, how long you've lived here permanently. Those are some of the things that could affect how long it takes before you become eligible to apply for Spanish citizenship, if you're interested in that. So on that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out as you normally do. Feel free to comment on anything you like that we have spoken about today or in recent videos. For example, you can comment on the state of my garden. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.